What's up, y'all? Winnie here, and welcome back to SP Foundation Wiki. This time we're going to be checking out Red Queen Island, Fetal Singularity, Dreamland, The Cliff Face, and Roman Anthropophagus. The whole episode sounds like it's going to be uncomfortable, but we'll see. We'll see. It's Euclid. Due to the size and nature of SCP-1585, containment is primarily focused on suppressing public knowledge and access to it. Containment and research is to be carried out primarily by the SCPs Garand, publicly RV Van Valen, in the Western Hemisphere, and the SCPs Takarev, publicly RFS Filipchenko, in the Eastern Hemisphere. If 1585 moves within 500 kilometers of major coastline, 250 kilometers within the boundary of a major event, or 50 kilometers of a major shipping lane, it is to be towed to a safe distance. Persons entering the area within 15 kilometers of it are to be informed that they are entering a marine protected sanctuary and turned away. Craft which enter within 2 kilometers are to be captured and administered Class C amnestics. Bi-monthly excursions to 1585 are organized by Doctors Ruker and Dux, depending on the current location. SCP-1585 is currently contained in the North Pacific Gyre, approximately 1,500 kilometers south of the Aleutian Islands. And then it has where that is. Description: SCP-1585 is a colossal specimen of the phylum, however you say that, jellyfish, found to be most genetically similar to the Chrysara Pacific sea nettle. The bell is 544 meters across, 412 of which are above the surface of the water, with its tentacles extending over 2,500 meters in length. Unlike other Scyphozoans, the bell constantly secretes a porous skeleton of calcium carbonate from its top, closely resembling that of an anthozoan corals. This hard surface completely paralyzes the bell, preventing undulation. Instead, it will extend and retract its tentacles to kite subsurface currents, granting mobility. Over time, natural processes have created a small habitable area on the surface of the calcified bell, as well as a recruitment surface just below the waterline. It is here that the secondary anomalous effect can be most easily observed. Right? Species who take residence on 1585 surface will evolve at an extremely rapid rate, developing drastic adaptations in the span of only a few generations. Due to the mobility and apparent age estimated over 6,000 years, it has managed to and continues to recruit various species of plant and animal from all over the Pacific Rim, with haplotypes in certain extant species extending to as far away as Madagascar. Competition among endemic species is fierce, constantly forcing responses to predation and competition stresses in order to keep reproductive fitness at a viable level. It is worth mentioning, however, that only adaptations conveying a higher level of fitness are seen in organisms reproducing on 1585, with neutral and negative mutations entirely absent. Species endemic to 1585 are capable of invading areas that it passes close to. Subsequent generations are not known to retain their rapid evolutionary pace once leaving SCP-1585, although their specialized adaptations often make them a threat to local ecology. And there's a list of notable species. It says microbial organisms do not seem to be affected by SB 1585, sorry. The leading theory for this is that 1585 affects individual organisms at the time fertilization takes place, leaving asexual organisms unaffected. So, first was the black-faced antthrush. Birds had adapted specialized skulls for pecking through bones of dead animals in order to reach detritivores and marrow within. The coconut palm. Shorter than traditional palm trees, these trees were capable of asexual budding, believed to have been wiped out after 1585 floated through a tsunami and the surviving population was quickly destroyed. The Hawaiian garden spider. Larger than baseline, with the largest recorded being 1.5 meters in length. Nyeh. It has been shown that webs can be as large as 7 meters across and has been observed to capture birds such as one and other non-endemic seabirds. Species exhibits a complex social structure identical to ants. The common mud skipper, more terrestrial than baseline with physiology and behavior in line with common tree frogs. Observed subspecies exhibit uh, aposematism ranging from coloration to notes toxicity to mimicry of more dangerous species such as 55 or 304. It doesn't look like we're going to talk about whatever those are though. Yeah, no, we're not. The firefly squid. These squid had adapted a thicker mantle suitable in shape for burrowing in sand. While burrow, they would lay their arms out on the surface in a radial pattern, quickly capturing any prey that walks over them. The Laysan albatross. This species is completely flightless, with a larger curved beak and shorter wings. They have been shown to behave curiosity with curiosity towards researchers stationed on 1585 and shown docility and even friendliness towards them in past expeditions into the interior. Species has survived the extinction event caused by 304 and has managed to recover to pre-event population levels. 304 in here? It is. Okay, we'll see it when we get there. The marine iguana is believed to be one of the oldest endemic species to 1585. It has developed longer feather-like scales as well as long forelimbs for gliding. Japanese ivy. This species managed to outcompete nearly every other plant species on the island in a few short years and completely blanketed 1585 from 1981 to 84, causing a minor extinction event resulting in the loss of 64% of terrestrial species. The California sea lion. Fully aquatic, much like modern cetaceans with near identical physiology, with the exception of the lack of a dorsal fin and the retention of ears, albeit smaller than average ears. Whiskers are modified as they are longer and thicker than baseline California sea lion, as well as covering the entire front of the mouth. Functions identically to balines in the Mysticeti parvorder of cetaceans. Whales. Just, just whales. And then there's another sea lion, identical physiology to 203 with the exception of two protruding canines functionally similar to the horn of the narwhal, as well as the total lack of whiskers on face. It is the main predator of 258 and occasionally preys upon 361. The existence of 203 and 204 proves the existence of a speciation from a common ancestor on 1585. 258 is the brown paper nautilus, morphologically similar to the standard members of the genus Argonauta. It lives beneath the bell among its tentacles and exhibits a highly ordered social structure similar to bees. Believed to have formed a mutualistic relationship with 1585, providing protection in exchange for access to its food. And then there's 304, which is an unnamed nudibranch. The adaptations included a modified radula which would chemically burn chitin the shells of its former predators, consisting largely of decapod crustaceans. Unfortunately, a byproduct of this reaction was hydrogen cyanide. The resulting rise in population of 304 triggered another extinction event on 1585, resulting in the loss of 88% of marine species, as well as 35% of terrestrial species. And then 361, which is a glaucous gull. Wing and feather size reduced. Subsequent dissections revealed appearance of myoglobin in muscle tissue, corresponding with increased diving abilities. So it sounds like whenever birds end up on this thing, they start turning into fish. Discovery and history. SCP-1585 was discovered by the Foundation in 1930 following the sighting of strange non-native birds on the island of Guam, which could peck holes through bone. It was discovered 245 kilometers to the northeast and had raised suspicion due to not appearing on any map or nautical chart. Following the second observed extinction event caused by species 304, the current special containment procedures were enacted, and it was relocated to the northern hemisphere. Recruitment rates have dropped significantly due to lower diversity, and the population has somewhat stabilized. Okay, so that's not as terrifying as it could have been. It's kind of fascinating. And it's called Red Queen Island for some reason, even though it doesn't sound like there's any red on it at all. Fetal singularity. Is Euclid. SCP-1586 is housed in a standard humanoid cell at Humanoid Containment Site 6-3. It is to be fed a high-calorie diet and monitored at all times via biometric sensors. Any illness, distress, or inconsistencies in biometric readings are to be reported to Off-Site Command at Site 19 immediately. And any medical procedures carrying a risk of inducing miscarriage must be approved by both the Site Director and Assistant Site Director. Until the final contingency procedures are developed, all non-essential personnel must evacuate the site in the event that 1586 experiences a miscarriage or goes into labor. Okay. SCP-1586-1 is a human female of mixed European ancestry, approximately 17 years of age at initial containment. She is physiologically normal in all regards with the exception of being slightly emaciated as a result of long-term malnutrition due to the effects of two, which have only been partially mitigated by the administration of a high-calorie diet. At time of last update, one has been in Foundation custody for the past 5 years, during which she has been highly cooperative with Foundation personnel and thus poses a minimal security risk. Two is an anomalous object or entity suspended in the center of her uterus that appears to be a near perfect black body in the shape of a 12-week-old human fetus. The object exhibits extreme lensing of electromagnetic radiation consistent with a gravitational singularity and continuously draws nutrients and fluids from the uterine lining of one. Measurement of the object's properties has yielded a calculated mass of approximately 1.69 times 10 to the 25th kilograms. It is currently unknown how or why these effects are limited to the inside of one's uterus, or why one is only minimally affected. 1586 came to the Foundation's attention at some point in 2008 following a hospital visit from one. The anomaly was noted during a routine X ray computed tomography CT scan of the subject to diagnose abdominal pain following an impact injury suffered during a sporting event, and embedded agents at the hospital notified the nearest Foundation observation post. A containment team was dispatched and amnestics were administered to all civilian witnesses. A cover story was given to her parents. One claims to have never had sexual intercourse. Medical examination has been unable to corroborate this claim. Incident report. At some point in 2008, one became extremely ill as a result of accidental exposure to a pre symptomatic Foundation caretaker infected with an influenza virus. During the following week, multiple malfunctions in gravimetric and radiometric sensors, as well as intermittent power fluctuations, were reported at Humanoid Containment Site 6-3, at times consistent with the most serious periods of illness in one. Okay, so that's a addendum incident. It's theorized that one is somehow containing the effects of two, which was disrupted during her period of illness. Subsequent examination showed a 1.3% increase in the suggested mass of two, which seems to support this theory. The research staff believes that if two were separated from one, either through birth, miscarriage, or surgical removal, it would exert the full effect of a gravitational singularity. Until such time that we can find a permanent solution to this problem, I'm requesting that we keep one as healthy and comfortable as possible. Dr. Somebody, Senior Observer. Addendum 2, Administrative Notes, at some point in 2009-05. Request approved, do what you have to. If that was in 2009, then I guess this must have happened in December of 2008. Something, I don't know. Addendum 3. Administering a high calorie diet and additional medical care appears to have improved one's condition, but has also slightly increased the rate at which 2 is gaining mass. While it is not growing as fast as a real human fetus would, the last snapshot we took seems to indicate that the shape and size are now consistent with that of a fetus at 16 weeks. We've also detected subtle shifts in its silhouette and local readings which may indicate that it's starting to move. We have no clue where it's getting the extra mass from, but at this rate, we may have less than 5 years before it becomes full term, and that's not ruling out the possibility of premature labor. To make things even worse, one is beginning to show signs of psychological instability. Her mental state will swing between periods of extreme depression and moments where she believes that she is pregnant to some kind of deity figure, and the last thing we need is an unstable host. There's simply too much we don't know about this anomaly, and the possible consequences of a major incident are completely unknown. I'm requesting further research and medical assets for the SCP-1586 team. And then it just ends and has not been touched since October 2022. It seems like her baby should have turned into its own SCP by now, so maybe in October of 2027, this will get updated and talk about that. But I don't know. So next up is Dreamland. Opened it in split view, don't even know what that means. I'll have to check that out on my own time. Okay, so it says it's safe. SCP-1587 is to be stored within a padded crate of suitable size. Request for access must be made in writing to Site Command. Only one subject at a time is to participate in experimentation with 1587. No personnel are to come within 3 meters of it, or of its last position at time of activation, while experiments are in progress. A suitable mattress, pillow, and blanket are to be installed upon 1587 prior to testing. These are to be incinerated upon completion of testing. All personnel who have undergone testing with 1587 must undergo complete decontamination before leaving the experiment area. This doesn't sound safe, but I guess since it's not moving, that's why it's safe. It is a steel bed frame, 1.93 meters in length, 3.4 meters in width, and 1 meter in height, to whose bottom has been welded a metal box covered with several dozen unidentified glyphs in solder and gouache/acrylic paint, and containing an assemblage of circuit boards, gears, coins, doll parts, and a transparent computer mouse filled with human hair. This box and/or its contents is presumed to be the source of the anomalous properties. I can imagine. When a live human subject enters REM sleep upon a mattress supported by 1587, it will transport the subject and itself into an anomalous location hereby referred to as 1, which appears to be based on the subject's dream. GPS devices taken into 1 have been unable to receive a signal, however, audio, video, and other recording devices retain their functionality. Upon arrival in 1, 1587 will produce a 20-second audio tone, 520 Hz, 90 decibels, awakening the subject. The subject will then be able to leave 1587 and travel within 1 for up to 6 hours. Let us report being fully aware of their circumstances, having full control of their actions, and being able to physically interact with their surroundings. At the end of the 6-hour period, the subject will instantaneously, less than zero point 0.1 second, be transported to 1587, which will then demanifest from 1 and remanifest with a normal reality. This will also occur if the subject experiences an injury which would otherwise be fatal. All such injuries are healed upon the transition to normal reality. Non fatal injuries, however, are not. Objects within 1 will accompany 1587 as it returns to normal reality if they are carried by the subject and or are otherwise close enough to 1587. The exact proximity required has yet to be determined, as has the question of whether other parameters are involved. Is that why there's stuff in the box? Acquisition log. SCP-1587 was discovered subsequent to the murder of Professor Redacted of somewhere university, who was presumed to have created it. He had been shot in the back of the head while seemingly alone in his bedroom. The gun responsible, a Walther P-38, was found at the scene, held in a hand attached to a severed human arm. The arm was wearing a brown shirt sleeve and a swastika armband. No traumatic army amputations were on record in local hospitals within the previous 14 months. As well, the hand's fingerprints were identical to those of Professor Redacted, as was its DNA. The case then came to the attention of the Foundation as a result of a routine keyword search. Investigation of Professor Redacted's home revealed that he kept a diary, henceforth document 1587 M3. M4 below contains entries deemed relevant. Right. Success! Prepped lucid dream about candy, woke up in a world with taffy roads, gobstopper stone, soil of rainbow sprinkles. The sky was orange like jelly beans. Rain was dilute lemonade. Walked about 3 miles from LZ to reach nearest town. Houses were mashed potatoes. Gardens full of jujubes. Overall color scheme of pink, orange, brown, and yellowish white. Locals were cake people, very friendly, led me to Rock Candy Town Hall, had fascinating talk with mayor, village leader. They spoke perfect English, convenient, with lovely sing-song accent, was honored guest at feast. Chocolate fondue, eggnog with whipped cream, and cotton candy ice cream for dessert. Lovely ritual with cake people sticking birthday candles in their heads, igniting them, and then singing to me. After feast, had just over 3 hours left, decided to explore further. They gave me a car made from a giant cupcake. Drove through tunnel of giant donuts to local metropolis. Overall color scheme pastel blue, bright yellow. Buildings were solid sugar crystals. CF rock candy and village hall. Significantly more advanced tech than in the village. Traffic lights were color changing lollipops. Locals were multi ethnic gingerbread people and constructs made of licorice, all sorts. Society seemed functional. Schools, university, library, museums. Also found military base. Tried to go in, was politely denied access. Had amusing but ultimately fruitless argument on nature of reality with sentries, marshmallow guns, and was taken into custody. That's actually how they pronounced it. Was taken to be processed for interrogation when remaining time elapsed. Felt tingling sensation, broke off piece of table, nougat with gumdrops for souvenir. Materialized back on bed in LZ, returned to bedroom. Still half piece of table. Note, if going back, ignore military base. Overall waste of time, would have learned much more from libraries or museums. Incredibly tired, need real sleep, taking blankets to the living room. Entry 838, partial success. Prepped lucid dream about cute, fluffy animals. Woke up in apparent rainforest. Trees looked normal, but were not at all rainforest appropriate. Was able to identify Brachychiton acerifolius, Therba manghas, Acer saccharum, Ginkgo biloba, Citrus reticula. Canopy blocked view of sun, was unable to approximate my location. Color scheme green-brown. Animals were intelligent and spoke English, odd mix of fluent and crude. Majority of animals not indigenous to rainforest, including dogs, cats, bunny rabbits, albino bunny rabbits, pigs, raccoons, one kangaroo, and one joey. Rainforest indigenous species include sloth, frogs, lizards, monkeys, parrots, opossums, and one toucan. Macaw? Met with assembly of animals about 2 miles from LZ. Was asked to help defeat a bear that who? had terrorized them for years. Redacted for brevity, full version available upon request. Looked like a grizzly bear, but bigger with spideroid mouth parts. I hesitated. It lunged at me, broke my back, felt paralyzed from the waist down, but could still move arms. Stabbed a bear in ribcage with poisoned daggers, killing it instantly. Still couldn't move legs, so asked animal companions to bring me back to my bed. They put necklace on me, filled my pockets with fresh carrots, and loaded me into a palanquin and carried me. Sang victory songs about me versus bear. Halfway to LZ, time elapsed, materialized back on bed, returned to bedroom. Back injury seemed totally healed. Still have carrots and necklace. Necklace looks like rubies? Note, find out how to get necklace authenticated. Invent plausible origin story for authenticators. Still tired though. Entry to 840. My god, they're real. Not all rubies, but still real gems. Jeweler offered to buy for probably half market value, three-quarter a year salary. Seriously considering it. Also consider dream about jewels? No. Would flood market draw attention? Gold, etc. likewise. 851. Damnation, 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 damnation! How am I supposed to enjoy a sex dream when everyone is me? Alright. I have officially had enough of this nonsense. I cannot even get proper sleep anymore. I'm taking the box off the frame. Screw you, Dreamland. Screw you, lucid dreaming. Woke up in the middle of reinstalling the box. This could be a problem. Threw box out. Woke up while reinstalling box. Tore garbage bag open and sleep. Left trash all over lawn. Definite problem. Burned a box. Goodbye, box. You've done enough damage for one lifetime. Apparently, I've been building a new box in my sleep. Serious problem. Vernon had better not dare say I told you so. Screw you, Vernon. Burned new box. Burned construction notes. Sold the tools. Note, mother may be upset about my disposal of her Christmas gift. Prepare excuse just in case. Feeling much better now that I'm getting proper sleep. I think I'm up to doing some socializing again. Documentary film festival on campus tonight. Will attend. Haven't used my faculty pass at all this year. Should be interesting. Eyewitnesses on campus note that Professor Redacta attended 3 documentaries about Nazi Germany and the Holocaust the evening of his death. So I guess he rebuilt the bed again and then, yeah. Well, it seems like Dreamland is not that bad as long as like you're not crazy, I guess. Now it's time for the cliff face, which is also Euclid, and it says it's highlighted in its native environment. That sounds as though it's alive. Due to its size, composition, and location, SCP-1588 cannot be relocated and is fundamentally uncontainable. The Foundation shall liaise with the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency to limit sea traffic within the area of the English Channel from which 1588 is clearly visible. Any photographs that appear in civilian circulation are to be dismissed as examples of uh, pareidolia. What is it with this episode and weird science words? Anyway, the areas of land above and below 1588 are to be monitored by CCTV and by plainclothes Foundation personnel. The Foundation and local authorities shall discourage civilians from approaching on foot due to safety concerns. Any civilians coming into communication with 1588 are to be debriefed and administered a Class A amnestic. Literature referring to the history of it and its anomalous properties is to be suppressed and removed from circulation as necessary. SCP-1588 is to be closely monitored for any indications of erosion or geological instability. In the event of an erosion-related collapse affecting it, it is to be thoroughly examined and communication reestablished as soon as possible, and reclassification to be made as appropriate. Alright. SCP-1588 is a section of the White Cliffs of Dover, I love that song, located along the southeastern coast of England, approximately 80 meters in length by 100 meters in height. It is, as are the non-anomalous portions of the White Cliffs, composed principally of chalk highlighted by streaks of black flint. Flint outcroppings within 1588 have produced an image which, when viewed by a human being, vaguely resembles a human face with eyes, nose, and mouth. It is fully sapient and is capable of sight and hearing, and possesses a rudimentary sense of smell. The field of vision is limited to an area of the English Channel. Sorry. And northern coastal France directly in front of itself. 1588 has demonstrated an ability to discern minor details in objects located several dozen kilometers away, in one case correctly identifying the colors and patterns on a flag held aloft by a staff member standing on the beach of Cap Gris-Nez in France, approximately 34 kilometers away from it. Interviews conducted with 1588 have largely consisted of it describing in great detail various ships and boats it has spotted traveling through the English Channel. It has referred to the watching and cataloging of said vessels as its hobby. 1588 is able to communicate by producing low frequency seismic vibrations within the cliffs it is embedded in, which can be interpreted as speech by a human by placing their ear to the ground within 5 meters of the cliff's edge. Is capable of hearing human speech within its radius and holding lengthy conversations. 1588 has been determined to be fluent in modern and archaic forms of English, French, Kentish, Welsh, Gaelic, Manx, Anglo-Saxon, Celtic, Latin, and Redacted. The Foundation became aware of it in 19 something when a review of classified documents from World War II indicated that the British government and the Allies had been aware of its existence prior to the beginning of the war and had been relying on it for intelligence regarding German naval maneuvers and troop movements along the French coast. Subsequent reviews of local folklore revealed records of British leaders employing it for this purpose dating back as early as the 11th century, with various sources referring to it as the Old Man in the Cliff, the Fairy Face, and King Greenshield. SCP-1588 has claimed not to have a name or to recall its age or origins. Based on descriptions of ships it has spotted, it appears to have memories dating back to at least the 8th century. Geological examination of it indicates that it has been exposed to the elements in a state similar to its current form for at least something tens of thousands of years. Due to the geological instability primarily caused by erosion, 1580 is considered to be at risk of being damaged or destroyed by natural causes. It has claimed to feel pain following major collapses of neighboring sections of the White Cliffs. It is not known at this time whether 1588 consists solely of the cliff face or whether it extends further into the earth. In the event of a major collapse affecting it, 1588 may be reclassified as neutralized in the near future. And there's an interview log where a doctor is talking to it on March the 15th of 2000. Oh, there's a forward. On March 15, 2012, a large section of the White Cliffs located to the west collapsed into the English Channel. The doctor contacted 1588 to determine if it had been affected by the collapse. Good morning, SCP-1588. There was recently a collapse near you. Are you in any pain or distress today? No. I'm just sad. Why are you sad? So quiet lately. The 378 ships passed by yesterday. Only 378? There used to be so many more. 25,123 days ago, I counted 6,939 ships going south on one day. Do you count every ship you see? Of course. Ships are so fascinating, are they not? I especially like aircraft carriers and wooden frigates, but I rarely see those anymore aside from the museum ships that come through sometimes. I love the very old ships, the ones they stopped making when the bigger ones came around. The white ship was a pretty interesting one, but I had to close my eyes when it sank. All those little people flailing and screaming and drowning, it was most unpleasant. You mean the Titanic? Interesting. So you're not in any pain in the moment, is that correct? Yes. I felt when the other cliff broke, but it was only for a second. Kind of scares me to think it might happen to me soon. Are you afraid of death? I do not know if I can die the same way the little people on the ships can die. I know that the cliffs are always crumbling and that my brother has not said a word to me since his face fell off. You have a brother? Was there another one of you at some point? I don't want to talk about it. Alright. So there was more than one on the White Cliffs of Dover, but when the face fell off, he just stopped talking. Bummer. And that brings us to the Roman Anthropophagus. Truly, this was the episode of weird, difficult words. What? What? SCP-1589 Object Class Anomalous Organism Containment Class Passive. Awake during waking phase. Hazard rating green. Yellow during waking phase. Standard containment policies. Reinforced specimen containment chamber. Schedule D experiment plan. Scheduled for completion in 1990 something. What the heck? Special containment procedures. Food is only to be provided to 1589 during testing periods. All refuse generated is to be removed by a squad of disposable dudes when it is reverted to an inactive state. A list of basic command phrases is to be posted outside the containment chamber, within the observation room, and in the main security office. Description: SCP-1589 is an acephalic, semi-bipedal creature standing 5.2 meters tall and weighing approximately 7,300 kilograms. The subject's skin is thick and hairless and is accompanied by a layer of protective fat. Heavy scarring is present on the arms and lower abdomen, and 39 arrowheads or weapon fragments have been found embedded in its skin. As its arms are significantly longer than its legs, 1589 typically utilizes a knuckle walking gait and engages in bipedal locomotion only for short periods of time. As it lacks a head, the subject's eyes, ear canals, nostrils, and mouth are all located on the torso and abdomen. No nose or pinnae are present on the face. 1589 possesses poor eyesight and operates primarily by smell and hearing. The subject is incapable of reproducing human speech, but is capable of creating and using simple tools as well as understanding basic commands in Latin. Training to understand English commands was proposed but rejected due to lack of meaningful material benefit. 1589 is typically docile or apathetic to humans, favoring individuals who have used command phrases towards it. It will instinctively consume any human corpse in its presence, removing any clothing or items present on the deceased prior to consumption. The corpses of animals will be consumed only on command. It will not consume living flesh and has not attempted to kill animals for food. 1589 will occasionally consume rocks without command, a behavior that becomes more common when no meat is available. 6 to 8 hours after consumption, 1589 will expel various substances from various orifices in the lower abdomen, including an edible paste consisting of the reconstituted flesh of creatures previously consumed, water with a high mineral content, inorganic pellets, the most common substances being iron and salt, strips or sheets of leather, gravel, concrete slurry after it was fed the appropriate mixture of gypsum, lime, and a suitable aggregate. SCP-1589 will enter a state of dormancy if not fed for over 5 days, during which it will not respond to any stimuli. It will exit this state in the presence of a corpse or if given the command to wake up. If it is woken without being fed, it will resume its dormant state after 6 hours of activity. Brands, tattoos, and scars are present on the body, including multiple legible Latin phrases as follows: Opus Officinae Magni uh, Perspipientis, the work of the factory of Magnus the Very Wise, located on the right shoulder blade. Not that factory, surely. 4, located on the left shoulder blade. Legion 2 Triana Fortis, second Valiant Trajanic Legion, located on the right calf. Nocendis est Lucius act nocte multas, pulcher cross feminas betuit. Let it be known. Alright. Lucius fucked many beautiful women on this night, located on the left abdominal side. Ecce elephantis Cibicida merde veraviri. Behold, the elephant, eater of shit hero of men, located on the chest above the face. Ptolemaeus hic erat. Ptolemy was here, located on the left foot. The text is accompanied by a stick figure wearing a crown. Stylized representation of a man wearing a lion skin and wielding a club, Hercules, emblem of the second Valiant Trajanic, located on the back. Other symbols and text are present, but have been rendered unidentifiable by damage and age. Denim 1, memo from researcher somebody to Dr. Somebody in 1995. Second verse, same as the first. The only documentation on the object in beta archive is the anomalous items list right up from 1993. I think we're shit out of luck if we want that intake documentation. I have some suspicions, but nothing concrete enough to put down officially. It was being stored in Lot M, which means that if it wasn't moved between acquisition and now, there's a good chance we got it during Operation Pendulum. That would put acquisition between 45 and 51, but that would also mean that there's probably no intake documentation at all because of how sloppy Pendulum was. It might have been taken sight unseen. The second Trojanic Legion was based in Alexandria, which makes me think it was French or English organization that we got it from. I'm leaning towards French due to some of the other objects in Lot M, and I know that the Special Intelligence Office was definitely active during Napoleon's Egyptian campaign, and that we cleared out nearly everything they had before the coalition came in 47. But again, this is just theorizing on my part. It's logical but unproven. It doesn't explain whether where the command list came from, or how it ended up in an entirely different part of the archive, or why no one tried to use it before now. At least it doesn't seem particularly dangerous. We might be able to spin a paper or two out of it if we can ever get these damn main list forms completed. Put it down for unknown provenance, intake documentation loss, back to the grindstone. Okay. I wasn't expecting to be cursing in Latin today, but so be it. That's going to do it for this episode. In the next one, we're going to be checking out whatever NA means: Fallen Star, Paradise Television, The Dragging Finger, and Earth's Corpse. Horrors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, if you liked the video, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you want to click the bell, you can do that as well so that you're notified of future uploads. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.